29 minutes to 9. Welcome back to Sunrise Daily. We're continuing our focus on the Bayelsa State Investment Forum. We're joined now by Cyril Akika, who is the Special Advisor to the Governor on Investment. Morning. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you for having me.
Well, yes, indeed, this Investment Forum, perhaps we should start asking you, for you, what parameters, what yardstick, what would you like to see at the end of this forum that you will then say it's been a success?
Firstly, the feedback we would receive, from those that have participated in the conference, those that have watched the conference, from television screens, and the information they have gotten about Bayelsa and doing business in Bayelsa from participating and also viewing on screen. Now, we ordinarily will be signing some agreements, within this conference, which for us will be something we feel will be money well spent, in trying to get businesses and investments to take off in the States. So that feedback, that information that has gone out about the opportunities would really do so well for us, because it will give us a base upon which the next conference next year will ride on.
So this MOUs will be to bring the big-time companies into the States?
They are for the big-time companies and also for the setup of our SME fund for SME.
Because I was going to the SMEs.
Yes.
What's the other plan for the SMEs? Because you actually need a plethora of those SMEs to drive the economy. So you can mop up those young talents who are out there looking for jobs.
Okay, first thing, like I said, we're actually signing an SME fund. The whole essence is to raise about 25 billion naira available only for SME development. Right now, we know that it is very difficult to raise capital in Bayelsa. Now, for the financial institutions in the country, they see Bayelsa not as a credit location. They see Bayelsa more as a deposit location. They expect that they will get savings, they'll get current accounts, fixed deposits, public sector money from Bayelsa, and not give credit to business in Bayelsa.
Are you doing anything to change that?
Yeah, that's where the fund comes in. The fund for us will attract and direct capital to our people. Now, what the government has done to further enhance that is the ease with which you can access CFOs. So that now in Bayelsa, the average businessman and individual can actually present a proper title for his land or his property, which could now serve as collateral for the banks. To even take it a step higher, the state government also too has set up an enterprise development center where, in conjunction with the Pan-African University in Lagos, and we all know that in Nigeria, the LBS is actually the best place where you can get entrepreneurial education. So they're working with us to set up that. Now, all beneficiaries of that fund must pass through that enterprise development center to get the basic skills for the businesses they will be carrying out. So you have them having the right capacity to do the business and also having collateral for the capital they will be receiving. The idea also too is to have those monies loaned to these beneficiaries at single-digit rates. Because, they're small businesses. They're trying to grow.
Talk about the collateral a little further, because if I'm to have collateral to set up a business as an SME, wouldn't that be challenging? And what will my collateral be if I'm just a startup?
Well, you see, that's where the empowerment for government comes in. Now, we all know clearly that businesses, land in Nigeria, yes, it's held in trust for government because you need to get the titles from government. But land ordinarily is vested within communities. So we're talking about not just land only in the cities, but land even in the communities. If you come with your farmland and have a title in that farmland or on that farmland, you actually can get funding from the SME fund for agriculture. Now, we also as a state have set up big agricultural projects and companies. So these smaller businesses can will tie into, not just can, will tie into these larger businesses. For example, we have the biggest cassava processing plant built in Bayelsa right now. Will be commissioned in about 2 months' time. Now, that cassava processing plant cost us about 3-point-something billion, working with the Hungarians and Danish group that is actually doing it, and they will be managing it. Now, our growers that would provide cassava to that plant, they ordinarily will come to the state and say, you know what, we need to increase our yield. Increasing our yield, we have only 1 hectare of land right now. I know that this company will buy my cassava. So I want to also plow or cultivate another hectare. But I don't have money. But I have land. If you go to a bank, they don't give you any money.
I was just going to ask quickly, sorry, Chamberlain, do you think that the environmental difference, difference in terms of topography, the fact that Bayelsa has a lot more water, changes the value, what is actually regarded as collateral in some cases? And do you think that banks will have to adjust, to their perception of what collateral should be according to the area?
Well, I think it has to do with understanding and education and what is also to be achieved. Because all the banks are trying to do is manage risk. And risk is either increases because of lack of information or increases because of lack of understanding. If I understand something better, my risk of loss from that thing is reduced.
Exactly.
And if it is reduced, then I ordinarily would apply myself more. Now, if banks understand how those particular portions of land can actually help in enhancing the business that are to be done on those premises, I think they will be more susceptible to making these monies available. But we're saying that we want to encourage these financial institutions, because even the funds that we're putting together, we're putting them together with the banks, also with CBN, also with Bank of Industry, Bank of Agriculture. For Bank of Industry to help us take care of the chain that involves processing, storage, and the like. For Bank of Agriculture, specific agricultural businesses that also help to increase production. So that's where the farmers can actually farm more.
All of them at that single-digit interest rate?
Yes, because we want to put together 20 billion naira.
What percent, the interest rate?
We don't think it will go beyond 9%, because we're also talking with CBN. And CBN has a special fund for SME.
Oh, this hasn't started.
We're signing an MOU today to create the fund.
On this particular one, especially
yes,
SMEs.
on SMEs. Yes, on SMEs.
How many
so
farmers,
it hasn't started.
do you have a list of farmers who would want to access this?
Well, in the Ministry of Agriculture, I know we have this information. But what we also did was to take a census of small and medium businesses in Bayelsa. So as of today, we actually have a list of businesses you can categorize as small and medium. So the whole essence is to actually identify and capture people that are doing businesses.
What about new entrants?
Yeah, new entrants can also still come in, but it all ties down to your interest. So if you already have started business, then we brush you up.
Are they coming in as cooperatives?
It depends on the particular business that is to be done. If you're doing agric and production, and you already are a cooperative, we will help you. I'll give you a typical example. The governor approved and released 500 million naira for women empowerment in the state. And that was disbursed through our microcredit agency. Now, what the microcredit agency did was to make these monies available to the women in the rural development areas, but pulling them together as cooperatives in this instance. Reason being that as cooperatives, they ordinarily would hold themselves responsible for any monies that would go out or that has come to them to do business. So you have in each RDA women having a total fund of about 15 million naira to do business. So a woman that all she does is fry fish, and they're already in a cooperative, they get more money to be able to fry more fish. But they're grouped together so that they ordinarily can fend for themselves and account for themselves, instead of allowing them run on their own and come to the microcredit agency, get 100,000 naira and stand alone. But they come as cooperatives, they get maybe 1 million naira, but protect themselves.
Do they need to get any connection, any leverage, any information or education of sort from the EDC, for instance?
Well, the EDC wasn't part of this particular scheme. But what the microcredit agency did, before making the funds available to them, they actually educated them for about 3 days. So each set came into the microcredit agency, stayed with them for about 3 days, educating them on how to apply and use those funds. Because the monies will be paid back. It's not free, it's not a grant. So we made them sign forms, as if they were collecting monies also from a bank. Because the microcredit agency, at the end of the day, would also spool out a microfinance bank for the state, which will have branches in all our local governments.
Okay, so will the states, or will there be any such thing as, how they have agricultural extension agents to just go and help out and make sure that those crops or those farmers achieve their targets at the end of the day? Will you have something like a financial advisor or consultant to ensure that they actually maintain that financial discipline, because they have to pay those loans back?
Yeah. Okay. The governor also has set up a bureau for partnerships and business, if you like, development. Now that bureau, within the bureau there is a department that is also supposed to go and keep tabs on all of these beneficiaries. What they will do is they would, first of all, see how well the individual or group has applied the funds. What challenges are they experiencing? And how those challenges can also be countered. So that way, even if they fail and say, okay, you know what, I've lost maybe 5,000 naira out of the 100,000, but they've demonstrated capacity that out of the 100,000, they've been able to save and pay back to the micro agency 15,000 naira this period, and they still have stock of so much. It shows, they can tell them, this is where you made this mistake. So if you do this, so there's that monitoring through.
So depending on
particular agency.
So whatever value chain anyone chooses to get into, there's something for all of them.
Yes, because for us, what we have said, or what the governor has said, is he wants the minds of our people to move from waiting to get to actually now begin to take action for themselves. And taking action for themselves with all the things that we're trying to encourage in the state, attract people to come into the state, which would obviously spin off needs which people must meet. The fact that you need to meet those needs create businesses for our people to also go into.